Hey guys, what's up and welcome to another episode of the Goodcast Show. So for today, we have a returning guest. He came on the podcast early last year. He's the head of the legal unit of Hindu Agama Money, as well as one of the leading men at the Hindu Service Center, doing amazing work for Indian youth. So today we'll be discussing a host of topics, including the temple issue, what's happening now, things have quieted down. Together with Reset 2027, want to get his opinion on what should be included in this transformative agenda for the Indian community. You may know him on TikTok. He's always on TikTok. He's sharing a lot of very controversial topics. He recently locked head against one infamous figure, you could say, a controversial figure called Mr. Zamri Vinod. So I want to find out what's going on there. But before that, please welcome Mr. Arun Dorasamy. How are you, sir?
Excellent. How are you?
I'm good.
All right.
So what's going on between you and Zamri? Will there ever be peace between both both camps?
Peace. All right. This is like asking me a question whether there's going to be a peace between India and Pakistan.
Yeah.
Right? As long there's not terrorism, I'm fine.
Yeah,
as
fine.
long you have no bashing of Hinduism and Indian, I'm fine. So
Okay.
peace is always there,
Yeah.
but whether they want to seek it or not.
Okay.
So I'm always ready for peace, but I'll stay my ground.
Okay, fair enough. Well done. And thank you for doing what you're doing. But let's get to the temple issue. Of course, we've seen a lot of things happening after the whole temple issue in KL. I think there was a town hall meeting at Brickfields hosted by Hindu Sangam. I just want to get your more clarity on this. Whose responsibility is it to ensure that temples are legally built and to solve this issue?
Okay, so before we jump into the issue, let me provide some proviso,
Yeah.
some framework, and also let me call out some points, misinformation out there.
Okay.
Okay, this is important because we all can talk about any issues, but if the issues are not backed with facts and figure along with our constitution, then it means nothing.
Okay.
Especially rumah ibadat bukan Islam ribi. All right. First of all, the misinformation that we always get about temple, right? The first thing everybody say, there's too many temples, and the worst is, right, even among Hindus. Of course, this all figure of speech. Too many is how many? Okay, too many is it's what we need to define, right? So let me put that figure out. Okay, there are some infamous figures among Muslim activists. There's always claim some numbers. Okay, that's convenient to them that put forward their agendas, but the numbers are totally absurd and wrong. So let me put some real numbers. Okay, in 2012, 2013, Jabatan Perdana Menteri then was the former Prime Minister Najib. Under his direction, he wanted to have a more scientific Banchi, consensus on temple around the country. So at that time, that project was handled by Malaysia Hindu Sangam along with the SADC officers. Okay, and I was privileged enough to be part of that that team.
Okay.
At that time. So the last Banchi or the only Banchi ever done on temples around the country is that. So that number is about 10-12 years now. Okay, but it is still relevant because if there is a changes, it will be plus or minus 5%.
Yeah,
that's all.
It's not going to be more than that.
Yeah, so that's pretty much all. Okay, the total temple in the country is 2,251.
Okay.
Okay, that is the number. There's no 200,000. There's no 150,000. There's not too many. Okay, and then temple per capita.
Okay.
Okay. For every one temple, there is 832 devotees, Hindus.
Is that a healthy ratio?
Yes.
Okay.
Compared to our closest counterpart, Muslims, for every the Hindus per capita is 875 to
For
one temple.
One temple. Okay.
And the Muslim is about 832 per mosque or surah.
Okay.
So that is pretty healthy. And I'm not taking into account Christians where they have a lot of place of, I don't call it, it's not church, it's a place of worship
In the shop
around the
houses and
shop
all.
houses and
Okay.
stuff like that. So let's leave it at that. So first thing first, I want to clarify this number so strongly. All right. So even by virtue of temple per capita, we are still low. All right. And there are some states, okay, namingly Johor and Perak said there's no more new temples in the state. Okay, I totally disagree with that, and that is very, very unconstitutional statement to have to be given.
Which states are this?
This Perak and Johor.
Okay.
So the first thing I want to debunk the idea of there's too
many.
many temples. All right, that we need to stop.
Okay.
Okay, figure of speech, not necessarily. It sounds fantastic when you say, oh, there's too many temples and stuff like that, especially among some very ignorant Hindus that wanted to project themselves as a genius. Okay, and it reminds
Who are
me.
you talking about?
Oh, there are a bunch of them. Okay. Oh,
Please name some names.
you know what? Okay, we are a country with too many geniuses.
yes. Maybe that per capita is too high.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
So that is that. So let me debunk that
Okay,
thing
fair
first.
enough, fair
Okay. The second thing I want to come back to you, the idea of some state using that kind of notion without any substantive figures. All right, saying, oh, we will not allow another new temple in the state. That is Johor and Perak. And let me call out very loud to this two state, whether the statement induced by the ESCO or by the MB or even by the ruler. That is unconstitutional.
Yeah, you can't.
Okay,
yeah, of
you
course.
can't.
Yeah, you
All right, and see, very simple, right? If there is a new township and Islam dan bukan Islam, they deserve a place of worship.
Okay.
How can you then say you cannot allow a new temple, right? And Indians, right, especially Hindus, we have lost more than 20,000 temples.
20,000
temples. All right, in about 75 years.
Okay, but what is your reply to the argument that has been put across recently? Of course, there was a Facebook group talking about them trying to look for Kuil Haram and all these kind of things,
Yeah.
and they took pictures of small altars made at random places on the tree and all these kind of things. What is your thought on this? Because people are saying that perhaps this is not right, because then eventually their argument is that these small fixtures will then grow into temples and then they'll demand the land. What is your reply to that?
Okay. I will come back to this. So
Okay.
let me debunk
sure,
this
sure.
this issue.
Which is stating.
There's no new temples in the state. Okay, that is, you can say that, and that is our constitutional right, and everyone deserves a place of worship, and that's also in line with our Akta Kerajaan Tempatan. So there's a no-go on that kind of statement.
Okay.
That statement is very much emotional statement, political statement,
Yeah.
and it's not substantive at all. Okay.
Get the voters.
All right. So that is the two things that I want to put across first. All right. And then let me quickly answer this, and I'll go back to the
Sure,
main
sure.
discussion. The idea of going after there's three levels of place of worship. Okay. In Tamil we call it Alayam, which is a temple, and then we have Sannidhi. Okay, small shrines, and then there also some divine corners. All right, the Sannidhi and divine corners are temporary. Like just before I walk into this podcast room, there were one. There are one right by the parking lot.
Yes.
All right, belongs to another faith. All right, so this will not constitute as a full-fledged temple.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now, what is all these groups? Okay, all these groups are using temple, okay, to forward their extreme agenda, attacking the Hindus for their own benefit. Okay, and none of these guys. So by virtue of a size of a temple and calling it illegal and things like that, first of all, I mean, you can call whatever you want to call, but you are not in the power to do anything. The only thing you can do, you make a appropriate report to the municipality and things like that. Let the authority take charge on issues like that. When a citizen go after a place of worship, this is totally against any civil societies, especially totally against a multiracial society. Can I now go? Okay, there's about 1,000 plus illegal, or I call it scholar tafiz haram. All right. Can I now go and name some tafiz and all the issues that are happening in tafiz schools?
When you say haram, what do you mean? They are not no permits.
They are not registered. Matter of fact, in 2019, Anwar PMX itself have called out loud on scholar tafiz. And I'll tell you, okay, when in 2019, when I'm part of INGAT, Indira Gandhi's action team, I was trying to trace Prasanna. Okay, at that time, I had an opportunity to meet Dr. Mujahid. He was the religious affair minister in JPM, Jabatan Perdana Menteri, at that time. So I know Prasanna is not in the in a normal KPM schools, normal schools. So and then I thought could be in Tafiz schools. So I want to then go and get a database of Tafiz school. So naive I am, right? So I went and I had a meeting, and at that time, I remember Dr. Mujahid then told me there's close to 2,000 schools are not registered. Okay, they are handled by state because religious matters, Islamic matters
fall under Sultan.
Fall under the state purview, and some of them regulated, some of them not, and especially we don't even know what they're teaching in schools.
You mean what they're teaching in there? We have no idea.
No idea. So, and I have kids there, and I have a syllabus been taught, and all these things are not registered. So, Can I now, as a citizen of Malaysia, in the name of in the name of service to my country, okay, call out names of all these Tafiz schools? I can't. I should not be. And if I have the
I think you sort of did.
I did. I called out loud, but did I just then?
Of course. I mean, it's not compared to what has been done to us.
I'm talking about all published numbers.
Yeah.
And the numbers are published by JAKIM itself, and these numbers are been spoken in.
I mean, it's not your responsibility. It is a state, and it is the
state
government
that have to go after.
Correct.
So
the whole apparatus.
And maybe if I have information about certain Tafiz schools, then I can make appropriate report to the authorities for them to take action. That's all.
Of course.
As a law-abiding citizen, that is my right, and I can't go now and try to identify certain place of worship based on my view, okay, based on my view and the locality and size of the place, and call it with a very derogatory term called Kuil Haram. Okay, I will come back to that. So all these groups are nothing more than just extreme group trying to put forward their agenda and trying to be hero of their community. Other than that, there's no locus, first of all, and there's no legal basis for that. And I'm so sad this government are so weak in enforcing the law. If I do that against a mosque, if I do that against a surau, what will happen?
You'll be in so
and
smart.
Just because I'm a minority, that does not mean my constitution spells my right any less than others.
Fair enough.
Everybody have the same right to. Everybody entitled for one vote, like I do. Even the ruler.
But in that question, because you're just talking about how these extremist groups are now targeting Hindus, right? My question is, why aren't they targeting the Buddhists or the Christians? Why us Hindus?
Because we are the low-hanging fruit. All right. So then I'll come back. Okay. The thing is, mostly the temples, the temples being the center of a lot of religious
activity, yeah.
issues in recent years. 2018, we saw how Seafield was. Okay. 2025, we saw how is Bhatrakaliamman Koil is. So it's a low hanging fruit. So it's an easy target for this group. Okay. So again, this group are so loud and so daring is because there's no enforcement. Like how there's too many druggies in the country. All right, drug is so easily available, and that's because of what? Our enforcement is weak. It's not the suppliers are doing a better job. It is the enforcement are doing a poor job. Likewise, here if we have enforcement, then this will not happen. And this has been categorically the pattern in this country. Okay, if that is not if that's not true, then Zamri Vino would have been charged long time ago.
Yeah.
So what's the point of having a 298A when that 298A is not used against Zamri Vinod? And it is not for those people to decide what is sensitive. It's for me as a Hindu to decide what's sensitive to me. Okay, maybe the K word is not sensitive to Tun Mahathir. He used that. It's not too sensitive to PMX. He used that before. All right. But it is sensitive to me. So let me define what is sensitive. All right. And when the Hindus say talking about my linga is sensitive, and that is sensitive. When the Hindus say, okay, dancing to a kavadi, it is like people got possessed and drunken dance, and if that's sensitive, and we will decide that's sensitive. So all these things never happen, right? And so this systematically, this is the same group. Okay, same modus operandi. It's all around the country and trying to play the 3R. And again, 3R is the biggest joke in this country. And I do not know why even we call it, oh, this is 3R. That's, 3R, race, religion, and royalty.
Okay.
All right, put aside the royalty.
Yeah.
Okay, religion. Okay, isn't this the Kavadi issue is not part of religion?
Yeah.
And you saw how Era FM got away with it. Okay, the all the 5 guys that were implicated in this whale scandal got away with it. Not even Akta Kesalahan Kecil. Not even Akta Kesalahan Kecil. Right, they got away with it, and then
I think now they are back. I think, right?
They're back. They're back.
I saw.
See, when we have such a weak enforcement, that's where this kind of group will take advantage of it. Why they are taking advantage? They want to escalate their own agenda. Then we talk about there's a group of people that are so far right on their thinkings and doings and stuff like that, who actually allowed that. And this one good example, and I refuse to acknowledge these kind of groups and those groups that actually preying on religious matter to escalate their own religiously motivated extreme agenda. And the country is now so polarized. It is so. After PMX took over, okay, and again I go back. There's not enough enforcement, and reformation. It was just in a slogan, and not on action. So,
but I think let's come back to the whole
issue.
Misconceptions that you want to try.
Okay.
But right before that, just one point I want to ask you about. So you just said that after PMX took over, and I've heard a lot of people point the finger at PMX for the racism that sort of happened, or racial politics. But racial politics has been there since Barisan Nasional. And to be fair, we are not pointing the finger at Perikatan. Perikatan is the one who's, even recently at Aikuning, a lot of racist statements were made, Bangkit Islam, all these things. I mean, should we blame them?
Brother, who actually convinced the voters, I am the change agent. I am the holier than thou. I will do everything. Anak Melayu anak saya, anak India anak saya, anak Iban anak saya, anak Cina anak saya. Who came with that kind of notion? Of course, that is the person I will question.
Why not question the opposition? The opposition is loudly using very...
Who's in power? Who's in power? What have the same question I'm putting forward, and many of the national activists have, Dato' Ambiga. What are the reform agenda that he have put forward this past 3 years? Tell me one.
Under Bersih.
No, reform agenda.
By the PMX, lah.
By PMX.
I think what I agree with you. The enforcement is very bad in this country. That is why it's happening like this, right? The 3 Rs are not being implemented or enforced when it comes to criticisms that Muslims throw to non-Muslims. That's very obvious. You have gone through it as well.
Yeah.
Okay. When you said what you said, the reaction was so fast. I think one night, 2 days done.
One police report.
But then thousands, and but I think he did go to court. He got 9 lawyers all apparently.
I mean, see, it doesn't matter how many lawyers you have. You think Zamri Winner has more lawyers than Najib did? Okay. I mean, you need one good lawyer. That's all you need. All.
But my point is that I think this constant blaming of PMX is not fair. Yes, he has done mistakes in the terms of he used the K word, and he was laughing at the Tirukural in Parliament, and he was not laughing at, but while reading it, he was sort of giggling and all that lah. Okay, yes, he's made some mistakes. Even recently with the India-Pakistan conflict, he made that issue. Okay, fair enough. But what about PAS?
Okay, see, good. Right now, okay, I'm not, just for the viewers,
okay,
right? I am a Pakatan-friendly voter.
Criticism must be unbiased.
Yeah, exactly. So I just want to qualify my statement,
okay,
all right? That I voted him into the office, all right? And not once, three elections.
Okay.
So that means I really wanted him to take office based on what he had vowed. All right. So right now I have the opportunity to weigh in whether he's just another NATO or he really means business. All right. So in my view, all right, he is not. He is not, because he is playing so much of this race and religious matters to gain popularity among his own base. That's one. That is so obvious. That's obvious. And see, Indians, people think the Hindus or Indians are very easily triggered. No, actually, we get triggered only with the two issues. Okay, whether it is a Tamil school related or temple or religious related, and that's all. Yes. And everything else we have a very high tolerance. Okay, we are not bargaining this much money out of the government and things like that. So that very sensitivity, he could not. PMX could never understand. He never understood actually. From the day a few months after taking office, he went and presided a conversion in a mosque of a Hindu boy. That's already starting on.
Yes, but that okay. I can
tell you.
Let me just say this. Hold on one thing about that point, lah. Look, if today a guy if that point is right, I think Indians we must admit, we Indians are very drama. We are attracted to drama.
We Indians are
emotional. We are emotional. Emotional is a big part of us. Okay, that's who we are. But we as people, I would say you, especially you as an activist for so many years, you must know that. Look, if a boy wants to convert, and the Prime Minister is there, wants to preside over, what is so wrong about that?
See, there's two things.
It's not like he's going and dakwa Indians.
I'm telling. There's a very fine line between what's legal, what is ethical. All right. Okay. There's a fine line. Okay. And most of the voters, okay, that voted him into the office, okay, are non-Muslims. Are non-Muslims.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, definitely non-Muslims.
85%, 90%.
If he relies on a Muslim, he wouldn't have seen the.
I think 20% only voted for him.
He wouldn't have seen the premiership.
Definitely,
altogether. Okay, if he thinks, it is nothing illegal about presiding a conversion. Okay, it's legal. Okay, anybody can do. All right, but having a person. PM for all, sitting there and doing that to a Hindu to convert, okay, that is not ethically correct.
I agree.
Okay, and that is a blunt ignorance of the Hindu sensitivity.
Correct.
And for longest time, okay, we know there's a conversion among different religions and stuff like that. We don't do publicly. We do that privately because we want to respect the sensitivity of every races. Can I now tell, how many people actually have got renounced from Sharia court? I can't. I don't want to, because that's not the point.
That's not ethical.
Yeah,
it's sensitive.
Because I do acknowledge the Malaysian setup as a multiracial country. All right, so that is important. So he should do that too. And then the same thing, all right. And then fine, that actually went, and that was the first time I got called by Bukit Aman because my statement against it. Okay, and
you've been called Bukit Aman a lot of times.
Yeah, I mean
that's your second home now. I think.
I asked for a room there.
Yeah, please, guys.
So that was. Then after that, there was a very very innocent girl, okay, and asked the PM about matriculation and the qualification
come on,
methods.
Arun, I know where you're going with this. Let me just say this, Arun. We must be realistic here. He's operating in a coalition where he's not the majority party.
Fantastic.
Hold on. And you must understand, this whole debate started off. I do agree with you. In fact, I've had previous discussions just before this where I brought up these examples and I said, this is the mistakes that he has done. Why has he done them and all that? I think we can accept that our Prime Minister sometimes speaks off the cuff. Even KJ said this, and sometimes that attitude may not bring out the best outcome. Okay, that we all accept, and we do accept that he has made mistakes with the girl. There are many issues, the K word, even like I just mentioned all the mistakes we did. But what I'm saying is, you constantly criticize PMX is not fair because you are not criticizing the other guy who is constantly using.
He's not in power. Okay, sir.
No.
Okay,
but he does influence people.
No. Okay.
When Haji.
Okay, before that, let you qualify this, Vinod.
Okay, wait. One more thing. As you just rightly mentioned, the Muslims, based on GE15, right? GE15. We can see based on those results, being very must keep to that they don't support Anwar. They don't support Pakatan Harapan.
The majority don't support Anwar. Let's put it there.
The Malay Muslim community, we could argue, would generally gravitate more to PN and PAS. All right, that is why PAS is now one of the strongest parties in the parliament. Right, they have I think 3 states. Three states, 4 states.
I will
no,
not.
But my point is,
I will not give that much to PN. I will just say not PH. Not PH.
What happened, Arun?
the Malay Muslim gravitate towards. Away from PH.
PH, right?
Okay, let's put it that way.
So when you see people like Dr. Maza saying the things he's saying, he's saying very subtly, not directly. He's calling apa agama yang boleh, you can build the rumah ibadat di tempat haram. And then he's saying, kalau you terasa, that means that's you kind of thing. Okay. Then we have past people who are coming out, who are saying that God forbids non-Muslims to rule over Muslims. Then we have all this racist kind of sentiment where we have past leaders who are going campaigning saying spirit pahlawan Melayu tidak boleh ditindas and all that. They are doing far worse than what PMX is just making mistakes here and there, but they are constantly doing this.
Same thing like Dr. Akmal too. All right. All right. So all these things. Okay, I'm in power, and whose job to enforce the law of the land?
But he is, of course, the government. But he's caught in a rock and a hard place.
See, the thing is,
when you are in power, you want to gain power, maintain power.
The thing is, sir, you are no different than others. See, your first intention is to retain the power. Your first intention is not to reform the government, nor enforce the law of the land. See, everyone will have a reason. Even a rapist will have a reason, justification why he did what he did.
Of course.
All right. So we can never wait for the perfect day for us to enforce the law of the land. So, and this is a downward spiral. Okay, we will go down and look at amount of racism today compared to 5 years ago, even 10 years ago when Bosco were there.
Yeah.
And why is that? Why is that? Because there is no. See, I will tell you, because there's no enforcement. How many times they call Dr. Maza in? Dr. Maza bluntly, said that to the Hindus.
Yeah.
Okay, I have actually made videos for him too. And see, why can't we enforce the law? But and then before we decide to enforce the law, then we are using another proviso. Okay, is this a right time? Okay, will this hurt my vote bank? Will this define my power and that kind of stuff? So law is to be enforced. Okay, if you give a reason.
But politics is not so black and white.
See, no, politics is not black and white. You're not running a political party, you're running a government.
But his interest will be to stay in power. Come on.
That's where all these jokers got it wrong. See, when I'm a single guy, I act differently when I'm married with kids. So the same thing. He was a political party's president. Okay, he acted differently. He said a lot of things. All right, overnight bullshit. Right, it never happened. And then now he's the prime minister. And the prime minister, the government's role is to look after the government, to serve welfare to the community.
Yes.
Okay, welfare is not only food and a roof above your head. It is also to keep the law and order intact.
Yeah.
When the law and order is selectively enforced, that's where a lot of people will take advantage of it, and this will put the country in chaos. That's exactly. You do not take a genius to understand this, and I think he is playing politics with the power that he sees through the government. That is against the oath of office.
I agree with you, and I think let's just. I want to bring it back to the temples, but hold on.
Okay.
Just I agree with everything you're saying. I agree 100%. But what my point is, it's not that what you're saying is wrong. It's absolutely right, and I agree with you. Malaysia has always had a problem with enforcement from the BN days. Let's be very clear. From the time of BN until now, enforcement in this matter has been non-existent. It was even worse during BN time, but then during BN time, the racism only pops out near elections. That only pops out, not like now. I think the reason why we have so much racism is also the fact that we have an opposition whose strategy when they first started out was to pander to the Malay community. Now they have realized that is no longer working because the Malays don't seem to be voting for them. In the recent I Kuning, they lost in 3 stations to PSM, polling stations. So now you can see they are speaking more English. They're talking about Malaysia, not Malay, right? Even recently Tan Sri Muhyiddin made that statement and all that. So they are changing. But I just want to inspire in you, I hope, that your criticism is unbiased, because you seem to be putting a lot of blame on PMX, but you're not blaming the true culprits who are PN. Who I've heard a lot of statements that really annoy me. Like at the I Kuning, when he said that non-Malays, God doesn't want. I mean, these are very dangerous things you're saying. Dr. Maza can speak without anyone doing anything to him. Nothing. I mean, and then recently there was one guy who did a show, sort of protest, protesting a temple, saying he had to, tint his windows and all that. You're right, enforcement, but I think we should be unbiased in our criticism.
Yeah, correct. See, it is very simple. When the guy who enforces the law itself doing it, okay, you think that I can tell the other guy to stop it? So this is like, say, if I'm in power, I'm the one supposed to enforce all these things, and I myself is doing it, using it, and manipulating it, and selectively prosecuting,
Yeah.
and then of course the other guy going to take advantage. That's exactly.
Of course, we agree on that.
So
yeah.
who need to stop first? It is the guy that actually pledged that he will be the reform agent of the country. The guy who actually said, have a list of things that he want to do for the country. He cannot play to the music of those that wanted to pull him down.
So why don't you blame Tun Mahathir? Why don't you blame Tan Sri Muhyiddin? Why don't you blame Najib? Why don't you blame Ahmad Badawi? All of them had chances to enact reform.
All these see, the person out of all this 10 prime minister that came with a flag reform, it is Anwar.
No, Vision 2020 was about Bangsa Malaysia. Sun Mahathir.
He was putting vision for the country.
Yeah, he
okay,
wanted Bangsa.
but PMX, his entire campaign since 1998 is all about reformasi, and which is now really basi. So that's all I can say. And I like to come back. See,
That's going to be the title of this video. Reformasi Sudah Basi.
so now come back to the
temple. Let's go back temple.
Issue.
By the way, I really enjoyed that back and forth. I think we should do more episodes. Yeah, go
correct.
On. Yeah, please tell. Go
Me
on.
too.
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody going to call me. Well, I'm available.
Yeah, so please point the finger to him.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So now come back to the temple issue. So when there is no enforcement, of course, all these groups, the extreme group, they are using this to escalate their Islamic agenda.
Yeah.
So that's all to it. There's no merit to all their claims and stuff like that. All right. Even when the temples make a report, the reports are all going nowhere, saying that fake ID and things like that. And believe me, okay, the most of the social media attacks on Hindus or Hindu temples and stuff like that, it is a well orchestrated. Okay, it is working in a definitely different dimension. I'll tell you one thing. When one night they change almost 100 over temples name to Kuil Haram, so and so, until today we could not find who actually did it. There's a police report, and whether we could not find it or we don't want to find it.
Yeah.
All right. But see, when all these things happening, okay, and mid of this, then we have our MCMC minister saying that we just charge one person, fine him 10,000 for a racial slur and all the stuff. Bro, come to my page and you can get in a split second about 200, 300 that's so derogatory towards Hindus or Indian and all the stuff. So all these kind of things do not give a feel good statement. So people like me, okay, and I'm the voice of thousands out there that's voiceless.
Yeah.
So at least I have the guts to call the spade as a spade without any fear, and that's what I'm doing. So come back to the temple issue. So these guys will go after the temples and trying to promote their pages and stuff like that. And currently there's two other guys doing that. So there's no merit to it. Now come back to the real issue. Why? Again, just before the program start, you asked me the right question. Why always temple? Why always temple is the one in the middle of controversy?
Yeah.
Okay. And for us to understand what is happening today, we need to understand what had happened previously. All right. And, mostly this temples in this country, mostly in the plantation. Okay. We can take back about 150 to 100 plus years. All right. And every plantation, there's at least 2 or 3 temples. Okay. And there's a saying in Tamil, கோயில் இல்லாத ஊரில் குடியிருக்க வேண்டாம். You will the Hindus or the Indian will not stay in a place where there's no temples.
Okay.
So that's always been. Okay, when we at the highest point we have about 15,000, 16,000 estates, private and big companies, right?
Yeah.
So there were temple everywhere.
Okay.
Okay. Otherwise, the Indian would not stay there. Even the very estate I was, the very estate of mine, all right, Palo Estate. Okay, we had 3 temples. All right, and the temple, out of the 3 temples, 2 is gone, and 1 temple still operating. So when we have this kind of issue, all right, and very only a smaller group were staying in urban areas. Okay, rest all were in estate areas.
Yeah, now most are urbanized, nah.
Okay, and then in 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, there's a mega migration to rural areas. Okay, and see what happened. The temple were all there. Like example, we have a temple in Palo Estate. Okay, that's where I'm from, right? And that temple every year the Trivula I still go. My entire family go there. All right. And we still, there's a group of people maintaining the temple and things like that. So what happened with all this temple until today, sad to say, we do not have a sustainable policy. And our land code, whether it's national land code or state land code do not have any special provision for rumah ibadat bukan Islam. There isn't. Okay.
But
and we
what
all,
is the thing that I keep hearing is that a lot of people are also, especially non-Malays, they are, I mean, non-Indians, they are saying that, you wouldn't have this problem if you own the land that you build your temple on.
Just like
What about that?
So for all of them, right? So they again, I have to bring you back to history. All right, when we have that many temple in estates, okay, estate, the temple. First of all, the land, the estate. The estate temples are on estate land. All right, and with the permission of the landlord. Right, they're the one that actually were paying to maintain the temple and things like that for ages, for decades. And then once that the estate is sold for some development, the temple is still there, and they sell the temple together. All right. All right. So now, what is the fate of this temple? All of a sudden, when they started the temple, it's legal. All right. It came with the permission of the landlord. It was maintained by the landlord. It was used, all right, as a place of worship for many years. All of a sudden, after they sold this land, it become illegal. There got to be something amiss here, right? Okay, why all of a sudden? I will give you a real example. Okay, this one in Bukit Badak, Putra Heights. Okay, this temple is about 120 years old. Okay, it was under Golden Hope. Okay, Golden Hope for longest time, and it was built by Golden Hope, and they pumped in a lot of money and all the stuff. After that, that land, the estate was bought by Sam Dabi plantation, and the temple was maintained, and there was a lot of fun from Sam Dabi to maintain that, because there's a lot of Hindu workers. And then Sam Dabi sold it to Sam Dabi property, and now all of a sudden the temple become illegal. They're giving notice. There got to be something, right? All right. So, and rumah ibadat is not subjected to sales and purchase. I can't just go, hey, this Batu Cave looks nice, lah. How much? So, right. So it's not. But there is no clear land code guides or any policies that actually safeguard the interest of the rumah ibadat. How can for 100 years my temple could be legal, and all of a sudden, the 110th year, it become illegal?
Okay, so just to paint some context, so that means you are saying you are referring to examples whereby a temple has been built pre-independence during the British time, and then after that, when the time changes and estates are no longer estates, they are sold, the temple is sold, and so that's a problem. The temple was already there, but it was not. I think maybe that's a problem in terms of when they sold the land, they didn't take into account, or that there must be some issues there, and what to do with this temple, right? But are there cases of temples that are built on illegal land post-independence?
Okay. Yeah, they are. Okay, so this is the biggest chunk of the temples. All right, this is the issue lah. Okay, especially temple with the estate temples. All right, and mostly even now we have close to out of the 2,251 data that I have, about 800 to 900 temples are still in estate land. Okay, estate land where temples in estate land, the estate will not allow you to register for ROS or anything like that.
Okay.
Okay, so it is managed by the estate people and things like that. So. And I'll come back to the legality later. Okay. So the idea of is registered or non-registered does not arise. It's estate temples there. Yeah. And there are some temples, like I'll give you an example, in KL area itself. KL area, there's a lot of areas of temple. All right. There were, the permission was granted by then the British Malaya. Okay, you can have a temple here, you can have a temple. That's exactly how Batu Cave got their land. Okay. That's exactly how Batu Cave got their land, 1795, and proceeding that. Okay, they wanted to have a temple there, and the the permission was granted by then British Malaya, and then later in 1930s they went and set up a trust via court, and until today the temple is still there for 14.5 acres, right? So it is it is all, I mean, no, I mean, I will not talk for the temple that was illegally built knowingly. Okay, I will not, because there's always people that do not follow the law. But I'm saying the biggest chunk, most of the temple are subjected to this kind of issue. So when the British say, okay, you can, like example, JKR. Okay, JKR workers, whether it is JKR or KTM and all the stuff. Oh, you can build temple here, you can build temple here, and these people build the temple, and because they wanted this kind of employees to be working for them, so the temple been there. Like example, there's a big numbers of temple like that. I'll give one example. Kara Sivan Temple in Utan Simpanan. Okay, that temple was built in 1930s when they were building the Kara Highway. Okay,
because the workers were
JKR. So JKR workers were housed there, and the temple was built there. Okay, after the all the projects over, the temple still there. All right. So and then in 1970s, okay, that entire jungle was gazetted as a Sultan Simpanan, but the temple is there. So now you cannot say the temple is illegal. So again, what is our guiding policy? What is our guiding law that actually give right to a temple that was legally built at the material time?
And you're saying that the majority of the temples we have are facing this problem, because you said out of the 2,000 plus, 800 have this problem.
I mean, the 800 I said estate temples.
Estate temples.
Temples. I'm talking about the other temples you're talking about.
Okay.
So the others, the non-estate, okay, probably in a government land and things like that. The same thing we have with the LLN, okay, Lembaga Electric Negara, now TNB. And all these areas, okay, where predominantly at that time about 40-50% of their employees were Indian, okay, the temple were all built in that kind of reserve. All right. So now after 70 years of independence, and we have now we are developing, and the land price is very, very high and all the stuff. But our government, okay, since the independence, failed to address this issue by the horn. And we should have a guiding policy. We should have a guiding law that actually give right and administration to this kind of rumah ibadat, not necessarily temple. It's also for the Buddhist temple and others, right? So what will they use?
This issue, when we say the government, that is too abstract of a thing, because this issue should have been focused on by MIC. Which I think the way things have turned out, I'm not accusing them, but based on how things have turned out now with those issues, it seems like they may not have done what they're supposed to do. So shouldn't they carry the blame and not the government?
No, sir, they're part of the government. Yes, who is in the government should have addressed this.
But okay, this is the thing.
Who should have pushed to address this?
Yes, but
should have been MIC.
But we must be very specific in our criticism, because that's the problem. You see, what you're saying now is true. You're saying there is no policy to decide, or no initiative, or no ACTA or whatever to decide what happens to these temples that were built pre-independence, and now with all the land changes, land sign transactions, they are stuck in no man's land, because hey, we were legal once, now suddenly you take the carpet under our feet and you say we are illegal. That's right. But the problem is Indians are not the community now. We are blaming the government when we are not specific. Who is the one who's fault? Who, like the question I asked you when we started this interview, who is responsible? Who is responsible?
Kementerian KPT. Okay. See, in Malaysia, right? Of course, the people that were in power entirely Barisan. Barisan should have planned all these things, but they were using the app. They were using. They're using the situation not having a clear guideline to their benefit. Otherwise, nobody would have allowed you to demolish more than 20,000 temples, right? They were using it. But see, there is a kementerian that deal with this day in, day out. Okay, municipality in places all over the country should have addressed this in terms of policy and guiding bylaws or law, okay, that will give a clarity to not only to the devotees, to the Hindus, also to the developers and all the enforcement officers. Right now, there isn't one, and probably they were relying on this. Okay, our constitution very clearly stipulate that, okay, government cannot regulate, control, or administer any other religion than Islam. Okay, and all the other religion, okay, it is a based on self-regulatory. Okay, they will regulate themselves. By themselves lah. Like how for Hindus are Hindu Sangam, and for the Buddhists are Buddhist Vihara, and that kind of stuff. So, but now we have a real issue on hand, and why is the temple always in the middle? Because most of the Chinese were staying in urban areas. So urban areas, they have very little issue with the land. Okay, where the land, you know who's the owner, whether it's the government or person Rian, and they will build there and all the stuff. And the same thing with the church. Okay, but the temple were all predominantly estate, and estate then were sold out for development and things like that, and the temple middle of a development. So now this the temple need a clear guideline, a clear policy, and clear land code that actually give them a direction, not only to the temple, to the Hindus, and also to the pengat kuasa. So we are sitting on an issue that we created ourselves. Okay, where is Kementerian? KPT stands for Kementerian Perumahan dan Kerajaan Tempatan, right? So KPKT, all right. They should have addressed this issue and advise AGC to come up with some kind of a guiding law or policies. Until today, we don't. And I'll tell you now, okay, government, based on our constitution, there's no such thing called illegal temples or illegal rumah ibadat bukan Islam. There's no such thing like that lah. Why? The government cannot regulate, okay, administer or control any other religion than Islam. Okay, so that means there is no legal pathway for any temple or any church or any Chinese temple to register with any government agencies. There's no such thing. All right. So what can you register? Like Hindu Sangam, the only place for the temple to get themselves registered is by virtue of Malaysia Hindu Sangam. All right. That's because we are self-regulatory body. All right. They will register there. So what can they register with the government? Okay. All those people that administrating that temple. Okay. Group of people that administrating the temple. They can register themselves with the ROS, with the trust, with the SSM, with the Trustees Act or court order. So the group that administrating the temple can be registered, but the temple itself cannot be registered. Let us call it clear. That's exactly the fundamental reason why we say there is no such thing called Kuil Haram. It is stupid for anybody to call Kuil Haram or Kuil Cina Haram and all the stuff, because see, haram meaning illegal lah. Okay, you do not have any legal path. How can then you say it is illegal? Right?
But okay, I understand everything that you're saying. You're the one with the experience, so you know best. And okay, if there is no legal pathway, then you're right. The Kuil Haram term is not right. But what is the solution here?
Okay. All right. So see, before we get to the solution, the problem is we all want to jump into solution without understanding the real locus of the problem. So if we don't understand the nitty-gritty detail of the issue and what path actually brought us into the problem, then we can never have a good solution. So these are the challenges. So it is for us to entirely blame it on the Hindu community or the temple is wrong. Okay, this it takes two to tango. All right, not only the Hindu community but also the government. So the government for the longest time, okay, have failed to address this or give priority to this issue until some issues into some big issues lah. Like example, we remember Kampung Jawa incident 2007, right? After that, of course, 8 March 2008, everything changed. Pakatan Rakyat took over Selangor, all right? So Pakatan Rakyat took over Selangor, and then they did banci throughout the state. Okay, all the rumah ibadat and all those stuff. What happened to the banci? They have banci. A matter of fact, in 2022, third sitting in Dewan Undangan Negeri Selangor, okay, they were answering, the state were answering some questions from some YB lah. Okay, the YB wanted the data. I mean the list of the data of quail haram in the state. So they were putting up, there's a 773
In the state of Selangor.
State of Selangor, which is totally absurd lah. But anyway, it was what the state answered to the YB's question. Okay, my question is, the 773, right? What were your action? So you wait until Seafield comes. After that, after 2018, and you have all these numbers, right? And then after 10 years, we had the issue of a Seafield temple, 2018. Okay, what did we do? And then now, 2025, what did we do? So the problem is there is no legal, there's no political appetite to solve this problem, because, see, this problem continuously been used by the political might, okay, to ensure their vote bank. So the Hindus been the victim of political play in this country, and the temple is the ransom, and this is that, and so the issues that we are facing today, it is based on the historical path of the temple in this country. Okay, and not all temple that have issues, temple with this lah. And right now, out of this 2,251 temple that we banci in 2013. Okay, out of that, I have 1,577 that is exactly that need. They have issues with a lot of areas. Okay, whether the land is not sanctioned for the temple yet, or it's not been relocated, or issues.
All of these are pre-independent temple.
Most of it.
Okay.
Most of it. Okay, and again, see, this one thing. All right. So now I talked about all the temple that actually originated from estate and the redevelopment and things like that, and temples where the land was identified by the British Malaya then, and all those stuff. Okay, now there's another part. Okay, since then, since the 1970s, 80s, 90s, there's a big migration of Indians to the town. Right now, 89%, almost 90% of Indian population live in urban areas. Okay, and to be very specific, we 95% of the Indian population live in predominantly 32 districts. Okay. That's all. That's simple to identify Indian.
Okay.
All right. So this is that. So what happened when all these people come into urban areas, and the new taman and all the stuff. Okay. Again, the problem comes with the KPT. Okay, and the municipality and all the stuff. Okay, by virtue of law, when you have a new township, isn't it a reasonable request? We make sure that there is also land allocated for Rumah Ibadat Bukan Islam. Where is that land? We don't have. See, when there is a clear and organized allocation of Rumah Ibadat Bukan Islam, that's when people started to have their own. When you have no place of no bathroom, that's where under tree and on the side, on the wall, everywhere people banchot.
You can't blame the government for certain people's actions. Come on, that's not fair. You can't say because the government didn't say build here, I'll build anywhere. Come on.
you have to see it is it is the government's responsibility, KPKT the responsibility to provide the basic amenities for the community there, isn't it? That's exactly why we have a kerajaan tempatan, right? So one of the basic amenities, even in our akta kerajaan tempatan, rumah ibadat bukan Islam. Why when, okay, in a new township, there is a very distinctive allotment for rumah ibadat bukan Islam.
So this provision is already there, that you must have a land for...
Yeah, it is already there. It is a part of township. Okay, all this one part of like a tanah lapang untuk riada and sekolah and all these things, right? In a township. So the thing is, this we do not have. Okay, you have a new township. So that's when people started to build by their house side and all these things. I'm not justifying their action of not following the law of the land. But I'm saying is two wrongs will not make one right. But however, this wrong was induced by this wrong. Meaning, if the KPKT would have been considered enough to make sure these particular areas all have enough rumah ibadat bukan Islam, there wouldn't be any drive for them to have rumah ibadat. And it's also synonym with the saying of the Hindus, okay, கோயில் இல்லாத ஊரில் குடியிருக்க வேண்டாம். So they always look for things like that. So and this is some of the newer problems. So we have not solved the historic the pre-independence problems. All right, because we don't have any guide, we do not have any clarity policy guiding all this problem for solution. And on top of that, our newer housing developments and stuff like that, where there's a massive migration of Hindus from estate to urban areas, okay, do not have a clear plan on the rumah ibadat. So this created a lot of things. Like I'll give an example, Taman Sri Sentosa. Okay, out of Old Klang Road. It's a massive housing. And if you take the entire housing, right, there weren't a land that was allocated for temple. So what happened then? There are flats, right? So under the flats, there will be one, here, there, one, shrines lah, everywhere. So this is one classic example. I can give you that many of this. So again, I'm not blaming, I'm not here to blame people. I said we have to understand reasonably to some of the dumb-minded people out there that wanted to hold the temple alone as the culprit in all these issues are totally wrong and ignorant, totally blindfolded of the real issue.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, the Hindus,
they wouldn't know the details, lah.
Yeah,
it's
correct.
hard for them. Yeah,
exactly, and wouldn't know or wouldn't want to know. Okay, yeah, because then they will not escalate their agenda. You see, so but as a government, including PMX, I go after PMX because he failed to understand the reason behind it. Okay, people, see, one fine day I wake up and I think I want to set up a temple in anybody's land, is it? It is not. Something I've induced. All right. What exactly? Why there is a pattern of this? Why I have about 1,500 temple here that still have issues? Okay, this one side. Another side that we have such a big problem with. I personally advising about. I'm advisor to 27 temples. Okay, whenever I'm advisor to a temple, that means that temple have some,
of course,
issue lah. So I'm advisor until the issue is solved, and then after that I get out. All right. So, and we have another area where we do not get enough help from every mukim, every daerah. There's a pejabat tanah daerah and municipality. Okay, and we are not getting that help. Okay, we know this area have this many temples that need to be temple with the issue that need to be addressed, right? So they don't go proactively, and then every time every time it is a prolonging and ding dong there, and things are not there. And even if they wanted to give you a relocation land, I'll give you an example. There's one temple in Padang Tembak, Kluang. All right, they want to give relocation land 28 kilometers away.
This is an Agamam temple.
Huh?
The Nagamam temple.
Yes,
Nagamam temple.
yeah.
I used to go.
Nagakani Koil.
Yeah,
All right.
I used to go there, yeah.
See, again, you are giving me option that obviously I will not take it. All right. And at the same time, you why did you wait?
That temple was built on Malay reserve land.
Okay. If I want to go into the nitty gritty, okay. To answer your question, no. Okay. That means again now the question is which one came first?
Okay.
Okay, which
Chicken
one
and
came
egg.
first?
Okay.
All right, so I will not go, and eventually I'll get solved lah. That one for sure. All right, so this are things. See, and then there's a colossal failure on PTD's part. I'll give you an example. This particular piece of land, okay, say so it was estate or whatever. There's a temple there. Okay, the temple there. They will not acknowledge the temple, So what they'll see, if there's an application for the land to be leased out, they will just do all the thing, ignoring the existence of the temple and give out to the people. All right. So now all of a sudden, this temple now, which was in a government land, or even previously it was under any estate, okay, now sold to a private owner, is sitting on a private land. This example I'll give you the next coming big issue. It is in Putra Heights. Okay, Bukit Cermin, Vadabatra Kaliaman Koil. Okay, this particular temple always been there because estate is a rubber estate. Okay, for a longest time. Okay, and then something happened. The PTD decided to sell the piece of land in 1980s. Okay, 1989. Okay, and that land was all sold to. It's another land scam to the PT officer here and municipality here, all the different all the binamis and things like that. Okay, until 2021, that's when somebody came and said this land it is theirs. Okay. While talking about buying the land, all of a sudden this guy sold it to another guy, and that guy file a suit. Okay, so that's going on. Obviously, now I will go after the process. Why didn't you when you lotting? Okay, the land. Why didn't you allocate a place for the temple? You should have acknowledged that, right? These are the small Napoleons that the Hindus have to face throughout the country via municipality and pejabat tanah, daerah dan galian. And it's not easy. And I personally have so much of experience with this kind of officers that actually tidak buat bodoh. Okay, and wait until it explode. And these are the mentality. And I think on this rhetoric, I can agree with the bunch of bunch of the extremist group that's saying that the municipality do not do their job. Yeah, you're right. Municipality do not do their job. That part I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, they should have done. All right, and these are the things that we are facing day in, day out. And it's not difficult. And why they are just postponing and procrastinating? Because there's no clear guide based on the policy, okay, to administer or law to administer. For that reason, it all left to Budi Bicara. Okay, when the Budi Bicara, and that's where everything goes haywire. State with the Indian ESCO, okay, the Indian ESCO have to face it. Whether he's doesn't matter his portfolio, you have to deal with the temple issue. Doesn't matter as long as he's Indian, not necessarily he's a practicing Hindu. Could be anybody. As long as you're Indian, you have to
deal with it,
you have to deal with it. And how about states that do not have ESCO? Okay, example,
Perlis, Kelantan.
Perlis, Kelantan, Pahang, okay, Terengganu, and just the day 2 days before Perlis, we had a desecration of a temple.
On what grounds?
I mean, they said it is on a JPS land.
No, I just want to get to this because I understand what you're saying, and here's my counter to that. There's an old saying, it's like playing symphony to a bunch of cows. They're not going to listen, right? We know the history of this country. We know how certain parties work and certain people work. Okay, we know. But you're demanding them to do something for us. That's never going to happen.
Yeah, see,
You're barking up the wrong tree.
No, I'm not demanding. It's a part of their job description.
If Malaysia if Malaysia was like that, we would want this problem.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, the problem is right now. All I'm saying, I'm not saying that I do not want to be part of the solution, but I'm saying that it takes two to tango. Impossible for the Hindu temples alone to solve their problem, because the bigger part of the solution lies with the KPKT. Okay, that need to be interactive with the Rumah Ibadat Bukan Islam,
which will never happen.
Okay, yeah,
because there's no incentive. I mean, we are a minority.
Happening or not happening is secondary. But what I'm trying to clarify to the people at large, they're listening, all right? Because they are the group always think, temple is always a problematic. Temple is always a problematic.
I think what you're saying, I think is very beneficial, and I think what people will learn a lot from what you're saying, and I completely agree. And thank you for doing that.
So now,
but just because based on the previous videos I posted. I've had people come to me and say, look, thank you for talking from a legal perspective, because they don't want to racialize the temple issue, right? But everybody wants to know what is the solution.
Okay, so right now, sir, all right, as a person that been on the ground for almost 13 years, 14 years now, all right, my proposal to the state government. Okay, which I think I did that during my keynote at Naga Kani Temple before the Yayasan Sultana Rohaya. They were chairman from the Istana, and then also some of the YB Dons were there. Okay, my proposal to every state. Okay, there's 3 states with the highest temple issues: Selangor, Perak, and Johor. Okay, these are 3 states, and some of the states that are doing excellent, extremely well is Negeri Sembilan. So kudos to YB Arul. Okay, he's doing a good job. So I mean, when I'm critiquing, at the same time, I want to make sure that people and also Pulau Pinang. Okay, YB Sundaraju doing an excellent job. So these 2 states, the problems are manageable, and there's a lot of progress being made. Okay, these 3 states, Selangor, Perak, and Johor. What I'm proposing to set up a Jawatan Kuasa Khas issue quail under the ESCO. Okay, all right. This is the first thing. First of all, let's have the political might to set up that first. So what will this Jawatan Kuasa do? Now the Jawatan Kuasa will be furnished with a list of all the temples in the state that have issues with the land. Especially,
why not the Sultan? Why the EXCO?
No, why Sultan?
Because it'll be more easier, right?
No.
The EXCO.
First of all, again, go back to our constitution. Sultan's role, it is a pretty much formality, not into any administrative matters of the state, any state or the government. So,
but we know what happens.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
reality
okay.
and
see, I think it's better for me not to have the rulers involved here, unless certain cases need the intervention of the rulers. Okay, we cannot. I mean, we don't use bazooka for everything. Certain things.
We want to solve this issue.
Yeah, but bazooka for everything will flat out the land. Okay, so we have a Jawatan Kuasa Khas. Okay, issue quail, which again the members will be from the state itself lah. Especially definitely pejabat tanah and pejabat undang-undang negeri, and then MB's office and all these good people, and then. every state we do have a list of temple that have issues. I myself, like today, I brought to you. So, like example, if I want to do something positive and progressive instead of Selangor, okay, how many what are the numbers I'm looking at? I have about 416 only.
Okay.
416 only. That means
Temples with issues.
yes.
Okay.
So that means I now I'm zooming in proactively. So will I go now? Go and call up all this temple. Okay. Make sure that I put them all on a right framework, so that eventually the issues can be solved in 5 years or 10 years or 15 years. At least there's a path. Okay, that should be the progressive path, because you cannot wait until the issue explode. Okay, and then it become what do you call a national issue, and then the government and the political bodies are forced to take a political decision. Political decision, not necessarily the ethical
The right one,
decision.
yeah.
Okay, like example in the case of Batra Kaliamman Koil, right, like that. So we have to go preemptively and try to solve. In the state of Johor, we have about 149 only. Plus or minus
Temples with issues. Okay.
So plus or minus 10%. So that's why when in 2022, when the state of Selangor saying there's a 773 temple with the issue, I totally totally against that number, because the total temples in the state itself only 594. Okay, where do you get this of 773? Probably the small little
Shrines
corners,
and all that, yeah.
shrines, all is for them it's everything temple lah. It does not make sense. All right, that temple, like the one that I just saw in the parking lot,
Datuk Gong,
can be removed anytime, and nobody going to be picketing or asking for land and things
it's
like
just
that.
a shrine, yeah.
So it's a shrine. Yeah, shrines and the divine corners all not counted. So these are the things. So the solution to this, there must be a political will, okay, and a political will to set up a jawatan kuasa under ESCO, okay, to preemptively go after the temple and put a framework dalam pemutihan isu-isu kuil. So that will be the proactive measure towards solving this issue. Otherwise, you'll wait. There will be a total of 1,577 times issue will arise, and then there will be something happen. Can we go to court 1,577 times? No, we can't, and we do not have to. When we can create the infrastructure to solve this issue. And again, this issue should not be used as a political weapon for certain group to gain popularity or to gain votes. And that is very, very unethical. And eventually, all this using and abusing thing will fade out. Like I would just imagine that the PMX will take this kind of proactive measure, okay, and if only they listen to the people right on the ground, and the solution will be similar to this. We wanted to go preemptively, not against this temple, in support of this temple, in solving the problem, and putting on the right path towards pemutihan. That should be the way forward.
I agree with you, and I want to end this on this episode here. We'll definitely have you back again. But I do think that you need to stop pointing finger at PMX and point it to the Indian parties.
I think the cause of problem is definitely MIC. Okay, it is not for the temple, it's also for Tamil school.
Yeah.
Okay, and they were using the TNT to seize power, to have the control over certain locality, Cawangan or state and things like that. And that kind of power seizing need to stop, because it is old fashioned. It need to go. Right now, the leadership is based on results, and that's exactly. I think we have punished MIC enough. If they do not change course, or any other party, the same thing I would say to PKR. The same thing I will advise to MIPS. Okay, right? Enough of talking. Okay, have some plan. That's exactly why I posted yesterday. Okay, what is this reset 2027? It is another tactic to punching undi. That's exactly because why we've been there, done that. Okay, I think the newer generation leaders need to come in, earn the vote, not ask for the vote. Okay, earning a vote and asking for the vote is two different things. So I think in the past, like they all will say, okay, I will do this. Please, I'm asking for your vote. So right now, all these guys need to earn their vote. And and the temple issue is, it is not a rocket scientist. You do not take a genius to solve this, but it does take political will to have honest path forward, and this can be solved within less than 10 years.
All right.
And that easy.
Thank you so much, Mr. Arun, and we can't wait for the 10 years, and congratulations on all your work and very exciting things, man. We can't wait to have you again on the podcast.
Vetrivel Muruganuku Arogaram.
Thank you so much, guys. So that's all we have with Mr. Arun again. Another feisty interview, and just like the first one. So please share your thoughts, your comments. What do you think about the temple issue? What's your solution to the problem? And perhaps we can share that with Arun and discuss that in our next interview. So till next time, as always, please like, share, subscribe. We'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye.